With us to discuss the situation and other supply chain issues facing the beef industry is Mr. Bob Lowe, the president of the Canadian Cattlemen's Association. Sir, welcome to Forum Daily.
Hi, Nima. I'm glad to be here.
So can you give us an idea of what your industry and members are concerned about with this border disruption?
Well, our industry is built on trade. We produce 50% more product than we can consume here in Canada. So anytime there's an issue at a border, it has the potential to affect us very badly. This particular incident at Coots hasn't really affected the flow of live cattle much at this particular time, but it is definitely affecting the flow of meat products going across.
All right, sir. So can you give us an idea of what kind of impact this is having on the supply chain of meat products traveling between the borders?
Well, according to the Canadian Meat Council, there was 150 loads of meat got trapped in the blockade on Monday. Now, I would expect that would have been a max, or a lot of that I would think got probably turned around and they went someplace else with it. But you know, when you slow that down in these processors, Alberta processes about 80% of the cattle in Canada. So, I mean, they have a pretty high volume system. And when product going out the other end of the plant, and the live cattle go in, when that slows down the cattle that can come into the plant, you know, over a period of time. And as we found out 2 years ago during COVID, it doesn't take very long before you back up an awful lot of cattle.
Mm. And how do disruptions like this impact the welfare of the cattle herds themselves, sir?
A short one, but I'm assuming that this is a short one. A short one like this, not a lot. I mean, there's feed coming out from the south. We had that drought last summer, and there was basically no feed grown on the prairies. So we're relying on U.S. corn coming up and dried distillers grains. And this, from what I understand, is affecting a lot of the dried distillers grains that come up from the Great Falls area in Montana. Mm. Now, so that could be a welfare issue if it keeps up.
Indeed. Now, in a recent statement, you said your association and others, they've said that the beef industry is highly integrated between Canada and the United States, as you just said. What is the scale of this, and how does it look like?
It's for all intents and purposes, it's one industry. We feed cattle the same. We have the same type of cattle. You know, in Alberta, we rely on some of the U.S. plants to be another bidder in southern Alberta for our finished cattle. And you've got the 49th parallel, which for the cattle industry is basically not even there. So it is highly, highly integrated. 70% of our exports go to the U.S. and we bring in a lot of feeder cattle from the U.S.
All right, sir, just about a minute left here, but tell us a little bit more about how this would impact consumers and to what degree.
Well, I can't say from a produce side. From a beef side, you know, if the product is staying in Canada, that should actually put more beef on the shelves. No, I don't think this is a consumer issue. This is more of a producer issue and just general trade. I mean, we rely on trade. 50% of our industry of our production goes somewhere else. So anytime, you know, we worked all through COVID to keep the borders open. Now it seems a little bit funny that all of a sudden we're closing them ourselves. It doesn't make any sense.
We'll definitely have to keep an eye on this developing situation. Mr. Lowe, thank you again for joining us today on Forum Daily.
Thank you very much.